Nick Davis, an urban explorer. Used to go by the name of Brother I Am Bro. If these walls could talk, or this area could talk, they talk about all the bloodshed and death.
And you know, this is really distinctly Cleveland. You know, right outside the city, this is all still manufactured.
Start making enduros or rougher or?
Yeah, well this is the beginning. So we started with classic style bikes.
Right.
And we just started getting into modern bikes, and we always envisioned the company as just kind of like a full line of motorcycles. Right. But we started with the classic stuff to get people comfortable with, you know, we're a new brand, nobody knows us.
Right.
And now we're getting into the more high-tech stuff, aluminum frames, aluminum swing arm, link suspension. You know, this is 4-valve overhead cam, liquid cooled. So we're kind of transitioning from the old school stuff into the more modern stuff. And we'll always have the old school style because that's really what we enjoy ourselves.
Right.
But also we race and we like to off-road, so this is a direction that we're just starting to go, and you know, this is going to be directly measured against, you know, the competition, whereas the classic bikes are a little bit more relaxed and they're measured kind of against themselves. Right. So what we have here is this is pretty much close to stock Misfit. So this is one of our shop bikes. So we have a couple demo bikes that, you know, if people come in and want to ride. So this is just one of our stock bikes. This is 250. I think this is the key guide. Classically styled cafe bike, and it was styled loosely after the old Ducati, the 250 GP. But you know, of course, unlike the old bike, it's reliable. It's got a CDI ignition. And, you know, it has the old look, but it has a lot of the modern amenities. And then this was the first bike we did, Heist. So this is a 2013. This is one of our special editions. Just special graphic and just a couple details on it. And pretty much all of these are Heists here. So just different versions. And this is a custom build we did for one of our customers. You know, that's the big thing about these classic bikes is everyone wants just a little bit of customization. And sometimes they'll do it themselves, and sometimes we'll do it for them if they want it. And you can see that the good thing about a platform with the Heist like this is, you know, all these bikes are the same, but you can see, you can make a dramatically different looking bike by just changing a couple components. That's really why the classic bikes, I think, are so popular. Just by changing a couple components, it completely looks completely different. Back here is just our shop area. And this is, you know, just a small shop. We pretty much have all the tools to build pretty much anything, or anything you want here. You know, this is, again, one of our shop misfits. So we'll just have 2 shop bikes that, you know, just demo bikes. And, you know, this one has a different exhaust, and it has a completely different sound to it, which is kind of nice to feel on it. It has a little bit more like meteor. Just has a totally different feel and sound to it than the cone exhaust. And then, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is just our small shop area where we pretty much just do the final builds for bikes that we sell in Cleveland. And this is Mike, one of our mechanic. This is just his BSA. But it's kind of nice because you can see the comparison of our bikes to, you know, like an old school BSA.
Only you don't have to worry about points.
Yeah, and you know, the nice thing about you know, what we're doing is this is not a big, we're not into big stretched out long bikes. I mean, we like bikes that are, you know, appropriately proportionate to people who want to ride. So, you know, this is not your big stretched out chopper. This is a nice tight little bobber, and it kind of fits the bill. So, and here we can go next door. I'll just keep showing you.
Sure.
I mean, the area is not very big that we work out of. We'll be expanding into the whole building eventually. But we're just step by step, just one area by one area here. So this right here, this is the Ace. So this is the newest bike that we're producing, and this is one of our test bikes, and this has been crashed a few times, but we've been racing this for about 3 years and just beating the crap out of it. And, you know, again, this one has its own feel and sound and everything. So every one of these bikes has its own sound and feel and vibration. It's a little bit more roady. And all of the classic bikes right now are 250cc. So these are all just 250cc overhead valve, just really simple motors. Very simple, clean design. This one's customized. The stock Ace comes with the side covers and the big battery, and this is just one of our customs.
I really like it. No, I like the paint job. It's really nice.
So this is the standard version, and then this is an engineering sample. It's pretty beat up, you can see underneath. But this is the deluxe version. So this was actually one of our EPA test bikes. It's got, you know, all the bungs welded in. But, so the difference between the standard and the deluxe are inverted forks, aluminum wheels, quite a few changes. So and what you're not seeing is this area is pretty big. It's about 10,000 square foot. So this is going to be our main manufacturing floor here. And the whole building's about 70,000, but we're going to start with 10,000 square foot here. And then in here, this is just going to be just for engineering and prototyping. And we just started cleaning this up in here. But, you know, in general, this is about 2,300 square foot. So our engineering and prototyping space will be, it's a decent size. So all our prototyping we do in our small shop over there, plus we have 3 other shops we use in Cleveland. What you're not seeing is we don't do any distribution out of this facility.
Okay.
So all of our distribution is in Sacramento and New Jersey, and combined we have about 150,000 square foot of you know, bikes, warehousing, parts warehousing. We have about 12 people that are in New Jersey and in California. So primarily here, we're going to be doing manufacturing assembly, and then the bikes will go to our distribution warehouses, and that's where all the logistics will happen. So, you know, the main thing about this location is we really want to concentrate on, you know, the bikes and not so much the distribution. So.
You must have your hands full with the imagination of what I see here, you know, and the different styles of bikes, and then having to, as a side note, or a major part of your business is coordinating all the details that make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few people that help. So, you know, John and Mike are a big help here. Yeah, I mean, getting the right people involved it's critical. So, yeah, I mean, I can't do it all myself. It's too much.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of the guy that tries to keep it all moving, and then all my other people, yeah, really put it together and you know, keep the parts flowing and keep everything heading out to the customers. Yeah, I mean, what you're seeing, this is only about half of what's going on here. We're actually painting a boat right here.
Oh, okay.
So we masked it all off to paint the boat so it doesn't overspray. But so yeah, so this will be our main manufacturing floor here. I mean, this building's about 120 years old, so there's been steel manufacturing in here, rubber manufacturing. It was a meat rendering plant for a while. It's been a lot of different things. So, and then we have offices. We've got 3,000 square foot of offices. It's right above this room here. So total square footage to start off with is going to be around 30,000, 33,000 square foot, which is not huge. It's, you know, for a manufacturing facility, it's small, but then we'll grow into the rest of the 75,000 square foot, you know, as we expand.
Sure.
So here, I'll just kind of walk you over. You know, the flow is going to be manufacturing, engineering, and you know, for me, I've worked for big corporations where the engineers, you sit in an office somewhere, and manufacturing is 3-4 cities away, or you never even see the products you're making. So for me, it was important our designers and engineers sit right where we're making the bikes. So if you want to look at something, you get up from your seat and you walk 10 feet and you can see it right on the assembly line.
So you can go from the office to the field through a doorway almost.
Yeah, and really the office is an extension of, you know, everything we do is about the product. So to just sit there and work on a computer and never see what you're doing, it doesn't make sense. So, you know, I thought that was important. At least for me, that was one thing that always drove me nuts is you're designing, and sometimes you're so disconnected from the actual product. So that was important to get that kind of flow correct. And what's nice is, so engineering, manufacturing, and then our corridor for packaging and shipping is right there. So it's really close and condensed, and you can see the whole process. So in terms of quality, you can follow it through. If you see something that's happening, like, oh, a shipment went out and something's getting damaged being shipped, you can go right and look at the shipping crate and say, oh, well, we need to change this, we need to change that. So you can see the whole process, you know, right there.
That's great. I wouldn't even have thought of what you just said about the, you know, something's getting damaged and shipping, just little things like that.
Well, it's the flow. So, you know, that's one thing that's nice about being a small volume manufacturer is you don't have 1 million square foot of manufacturing space. It's quite small. So, you know, everyone's involved from, you know, anyone in the office, they can come down and say, hey, I like this, I don't like that, let's change this, change that. So the idea is everything we do, we want to be focused on the product. You know, the end game is the thing we produce. So everything's centered around the things we produce. So like the manufacturing space is central, and everyone always has to come through the manufacturing space to, you're always seeing the product. So you can't just sit up in your office all day and, you know, just crunch numbers. You have to always see the product. I thought that was important. So.
It is a very good idea.
So then right here is the shipping corridor. You know, right now we're just using it for storage, but so, you know, the products get done, they'll come in here, and then everything gets stacked and put in here, and we have a loading dock all the way at the end of the corridor, and that's where everything ships out to our logistics facility. So, yeah, it's a pretty small space, but it works for us. It works really well. And then right next door we have, that's going to be transitioning into just the motorcycle shop. So,
okay.
And those are actually two separate businesses. So the manufacturing and then the motorcycle shop are two separate entities. So they'll be completely separate at that point. And then up here is our our offices will be right up here. But you know, the office building is not separate from the manufacturing space. It's all integrated. So it's pretty important, pretty central to what we're trying to do. Here we can. Yeah. So you know, you see all these pits. These were all rubber stamping machines.
Were they still in here when you got them?
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah. We cut out over 10 tons of steel that we didn't need in here. There were high pressure lines, fuel lines.
Did you get the opportunity to like at least sell them, or did you end up scrapping them?
We sold everything for
Oh, good.
scrap, yeah.
That's a lot of, I mean, hopefully it turned enough for the labor it took to do it.
Yeah, it basically paid for the labor that cut it out.
Yeah, that's good.
I just figured we'll go through here because it's a lot easier
Sure.
to go out the doors and walk.
Watch your foot there.
Yeah, that's getting out of here in a week.
Oh, the boat.
But you know, we're a quarter mile from the lake, so of course, you know, we got to work on boats every so often. So basically, you know, why this space is kind of unique is because the idea is when customers come in to, you know, to see the space, we have a nice courtyard, and this is all going to be refurbished, and you can come in, and it's a nice atmosphere to come in and you can relax, you know, buy a custom bike, buy some parts. It's just a really nice feel for a factory. You know, it's kind of inviting. You're being invited into this courtyard. So.
Yeah.
I'll show you the rest of the building really quick just so you see it. So this is basically where we're going to be expanding to once we fill that up. And then, you know, we have a nice big building to grow into, and that was important for me. So, you know, this is all going to be more assembly than manufacturing over here. But you can see we got plenty of space to really grow into it. And then we have two additional loading docks over here.
Okay.
So we have pretty big space to grow into. Pretty huge.
Wow.
There's a little leak here right now.
Well, it wouldn't be an old building without a leak. Huh?
No, we're always patching leaks. It's just the way it goes. And then actually we have a couple students that are in here. We have one guy from Ohio Technical College that's kind of interning here, and he's got his bikes, his disassembled bikes spread all over the building right now, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah, I mean, as you see, we have plenty of space to grow into, which is great. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's no joke. We have two gigantic freight elevators, and yeah, plenty of space to grow into. So we'll go head up to the roof. This is kind of what's so cool about the building here.
Oh, the lake.
Yeah. So I'm gonna add a deck up here, you know, just to have some barbecues and whatnot. But what's cool is the lake's a quarter mile that way, and downtown's right here. So it's kind of unique. And you know, this is really distinctly Cleveland. You know, right outside the city, this is all still manufacturing. So you know, our neighbors, they cut steel. That's all they do. Cut and grind steel.
Wow.
So. And then we have there's steel stamping, there's more steel fabrication, custom fabrication. It's all a lot to do with steel all around here. There's hot forging, casting. So it's a great neighborhood to be in.
Yeah, everything's here.
Yeah. So,
And now there's a motorcycle
yeah. Well, the cool thing is
manufacturer.
Whiskey Island is right at the end of the street. So you know, for lunch, if we want to go to the beach, and it's just a great environment to work in, you know, being so close to the lake, and it's pretty cool. And you can see all the new fancy condos over here.
I do see that, yeah.
So it's a pretty cool mix of, you know, this old industrial with, you know, all the new all the cool kids that want to be in the city. The other thing that attracted us to this building is we can go up another 3 or 4 levels if we have to. These are all, underneath all these are piers. So this whole building is structural concrete and steel. So it was actually built to keep going up. And all these are they're protected areas, so we can add more steel piers if we wanted to keep building up.
Wow.
Yeah. So there were plans for this to actually be 6 stories here.
I hope you make it to 6 stories. That'd
be cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was going to be the gazebo, so we want to cut all this out and actually make that covered gazebo and then a porch kind of over here. Yeah, the idea is I work so much, I want this to be a really enjoyable place to work.
I'm pleasantly surprised at your outlook on this. Sounds like a great place to work, or you'd be a great person to work for an employee.
You gotta enjoy your job. That's kind of, I know it's work, but it should be enjoyable. There's another little area for our little patio deck right here too. You know, the weather here is good only a few months out of the year, so when it's nice, everyone wants to be outside. Yeah, we'll go back into the shop. So, well, actually, these are we did 2 land speed bikes. So these were our land speed racers, and this one we're gonna continue to try to get going faster. So this bike right here holds 2 records.
On the salt flats?
This is Ohio Mile, so
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make it out to Bonneville this year. But this is both it holds gas and a fuel record. So for this is push rod gas, 250cc 4-stroke, and then we have push rod fuel.
Okay.
So that's holds one of the records, and this bike we're going to turbocharge. So this is going to be a forced induction. So this is going to be a power adder because these bikes were competing in the same class. So instead of competing against each other, we're going to put them in 2 different classes.
Is that a protector for the case the chain were to go at those high speeds to protect the record?
Yeah.
It is required, okay.
So, and it's a big, thick piece of steel.
Oh, it's steel. I thought maybe it was carbon fiber or something. It's steel, huh? Wow.
Yeah, so this bike holds 2 records now, and then hopefully we can go out to the salt flats and match, if not, exceed the current records that we've set for these.
Yeah, I only mention the salt flats because that's usually what I think of when I hear land speed
Well,
records.
The nice thing is the Ohio Mile is a great area for testing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can test and tune it to Ohio Mile and kind of prepare for Bonneville.
Great.
So we broke the records at Ohio Mile by 12 miles per hour. So I think we'll be able to at least match, if not, Bonneville is kind of a power robber with the salt in the atmosphere and everything. So,
Okay.
we're hoping we can at least match, if not bump the record out of Bonneville. So.
Wow.
And this is going to be our first, this is going to be our turbocharged. So it's going to be 1 power adder.
Is that something you're hoping to put into production eventually with this? No.
That's just something fun for us to play with. Yeah. So, forced induction is a little bit, you got to be careful. So, this bike, our first time out, we broke two records, and then we're hoping to at least get close with our turbocharged bike. The whole idea here is let's see how far we can push these 250s, and if we're not pushing it, why should we expect our customers to, or why should we expect anyone else to really push it? So the idea is, You know, they're great stock bikes, but how much performance can you really wring out of these bikes? And you know, how far can you take a really simple overhead valve, 2-valve design? You know, where can it be pushed? Where's the limit? And we're close, but we haven't quite found the limit yet. And yeah, so this is the start, and you know, some of the other bikes are kind of where we're going. So, and you know, I think the next few years, our customers and hopefully people that don't know us will see, you know, not only the classic stuff, but the more modern bikes that we're starting to get into. Okay, so you know, the idea behind how the company started is, you know, I really like custom building bikes, and you know, I was really looking at building some big V-twins with, you know, S&S motors, using, you know, some serious big V-twin components. I started looking at what it would take to do that, and I was getting up to like $14,000, $15,000 to build customs. And then I started looking into non-American bikes, and actually it's funny because the BSA is sitting right here. I started looking at, you know, what it would cost to build, you know, old British bikes, and it's considerably less. You know, you can get a decent running Brit bike for anywhere from $1,000 to $3 grand. And that was a lot more palatable to take a $1,500 bike and chop it up than to have a $14,000, you know, new pile of parts. So I started looking at this, and I said, well, there's no options for anybody to seriously build a cool custom bike for a lot less than, you know, a Sucker Punch Sally, or, you know, using the S&S or the RevTech motors. And, you know, that's really what I was into, was that look, the bobbers, the choppers, the cafe bikes. And, well, if I spend 15 grand on parts, another $1,500 on paint, you know, it just $20,000 to really build a special custom chopper. It was driving me nuts, because I just kept going through, and it was just so much money. So I started looking at, you know, how I could do this for less expensive, a lot less money. And I started looking at what the most expensive components were, and then we started talking to manufacturers, and the 250cc motor it made so much sense, because actually the performance of like one of these bikes, you can cruise all day with guys on Sportsters, any cruiser. You know, these bikes will go, you know, modified, you get almost 100 miles per hour. Stock, they'll do 75 miles per hour. And if you're just looking to cruise around, have fun, and have a really cool, enjoyable bike, it works for you. And you know, the great thing about a single cylinder 250 is they're super torquey.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're fun bikes. I mean, you can still do wheelies. You know, you can toss them around, and you can have a lot of fun with them. So once I really started getting into the single cylinder motors, and you know, the BSA, starting to work with BSAs was really my first experience with single cylinders. You know, I was always into V-twins and super into Ducatis, and you know, once I got onto a single cylinder and I realized how much torque they had, then I started messing with, you know, 250, just 4 strokes and 125cc singles. It was like, wow, this was something that was just, it was incredible, the amount of torque that they had. And that's what really led to getting into the Heist, which was our first bike.
Too much time for you. It's too much time for you. It's too much time.